None. None. Unless you've spent the last few weeks hooked up to a respirator, pal, you know that Mike Tyson, the heavyweight champ of the world, is in the fight of his life. His opponent is a legal system that allows any gold-digging bimbo to rob a man of his life savings for a few months. There's some guys out there are pretty crusty, too, all right? But the gals, these bimbos think that a couple of months on their back gives them everything, right? Well, tonight, I'm climbing into Mike Tyson's corner and the corner of every man who's been stripped of his rights and his money by a greedy dame and an unscrupulous lawyer. Joining me will be with Mike's adoptive mother, his trainer, and a classmate of Robin Givens'. Has Tyson been hit below the belt? You bet your buns he has. Start off by letting me introduce at home base Kevin Rooney, who's Mike Tyson's trainer.
Thank you.
Our folks in the studio, you'll see the next package on the monitor. Folks at home, watch your TV screens. I want you to take just a gentle look at this lovely Robin and our champ, Mike Tyson. Let me see that on the monitor, please.
Mike Tyson's friends reportedly are saying that Robin Givens sucker-punched the champ into marrying her by claiming she was pregnant when, in fact, the actress was not expecting. The fighter's attorneys will file papers in New Jersey this week seeking an annulment to the 8-month marriage. If the marriage is annulled, Givens could get nothing. But if the case goes to court in California, where Givens filed for divorce, she would get half of the $50 million Tyson reportedly made during the marriage.
Let me tell you something. I want to... Okay. All right. And you know what? And you know what's nice about that? Equally, the women are booing just as loudly as the men are. Now, let me introduce Mike Tyson's real girlfriend, all right? His adoptive mother from the age of 12. Yesterday, I asked Camille Ewald, all right, his adoptive mom, how long she had known Mike Tyson, if she had ever known him to be a violent person outside the ring. Camille? Ever see him hit one of the other kids?
Never yet. I had 6 kids in the house, about the same age as he, a little bit younger.
Was he respectful of women?
Very respectful to women.
I also asked Camille if Mike Tyson wanted to get married and have a family. Camille, can you answer that one for me? Obviously, we're training our people in the tape room, teaching them how to run American products instead of Japanese ones. Pardon me? Fill my ass. Get the tape running.
I would say about the age of 18, Cus was still alive at that time. He was going out study with the girls. It's like, study a couple weeks at a time. That time we call it study. None of them had the money to go study at that time. And he said he would grow up, he would like to get married. He would like to have at least 6 kids.
At least 6 kids.
At least 6 kids.
So Iron Mike is really a softie for kids, isn't he?
Yes, he loves kids.
Let me ask you, Kevin. You've known Iron Mike a long time. There's a lot of talk in and around Los Angeles right now that Mike Tyson is gay. I think Camille's answer puts that theory to rest, all right? Do you think the latest cockamamie story is just another ridiculous ploy from the Gibbons camp trying to make the champ look like anything else but a champ?
Well, I have to say this, that, you know, that rumor started circulating back in August of 1986 when we were fighting Ratliff out in Vegas before the Burbick fight.
Yeah.
Some girl had a radio show, and she came up to me, and she said, you know, I hear that Mike is gay. You know, I just kind of looked at her like, you know, Mike has all kinds of women, before he married Robin, hanging around. Now the rumors are floating around that he's had, you know, women after he married Robin. So, you know, for him to be,
Well,
I spent a lot of time
just,
with the guy. He's never made any,
he never hit up
kind
on
of
you.
pass on me.
Well, yeah. Kevin, I mean, you know, let's be honest. You're not exactly the romantic-looking type. Well, let me ask you. Let me go back and say.
I have a lot of women that would disagree with that.
What has been your relationship with Robin Gibbons and her mother, Ruth Roper?
I've had.
And pull no punches. You never have.
No, I haven't. I'm going to be honest as I can. I've had. I felt Mike married Robin. That's his wife. I don't want to have anything to do with her. As little as possible. Before they got married, we were always friendly. I gave her a little bit of advice. You know, that you got to be the strong one in the relationship because Michael's like, you know, he's a little bit on the baby side sometimes. I said that to her. Then after they got married, they started to have this power struggle where they wanted to take over the power. Then I ran into the wrath of both women at one time, and Robin went off on the phone when we were training for Spinks about a People magazine. Something just outrageous. She was going off. I just hung the phone up. Ruth went off on me a couple of times.
Ruth is the mother.
Is the mother.
Ruth, if my memory serves me right, these poor women have had terrible times with men. Didn't Ruth allegedly catch herpes from Dave Winfield?
Well, it was. Wait a minute. To be honest, they never said that. They just said a sexually transmitted disease.
Oh, so it might have just been syphilis.
It could have been whatever. You know, wait a minute. I want to be honest here because, you know, I don't know Ruth, and Ruth, you know, is Ruth. I don't really know. But the story that I get, which is all rumors, it was more a jilted lover. You know, Winfield was going out with her, and then he married his next wife, who was a younger woman, and she might have concocted the whole story to get a settlement.
Well, how about when Mike was in the hospital? You, as one of his best friends, I'm sure you went and visited the guy in the hospital, didn't you?
You're so funny. Of course, I tried to, and I was kept out of the hospital room by Robin, because we had words the night before in the Hudson Hospital where I was questioning the doctor because I wanted to know exactly what was wrong with Michael. He looked fine to me. He had a car accident, and he fell asleep as far as I see it. None of this knockout stuff. I think he fell asleep from lack of sleep. So we had words, and she said try to visit him in the hospital, and I went down, and of course I was kept out. But, I mean, to stick up for Ruth, she tried to get me up there to see it, and then they all came down and said, Michael don't want to see nobody.
Have you seen Michael since that day?
I have not seen Michael since that day.
Have you spoken to Michael since that day?
I've spoken to him on the phone. I spoke to him after the 2020 interview.
And he's cool?
He's cool with me.
As far as your
The last time I spoke to him.
All right. Well, let me go back to Camille again. Camille, join us again, please, and let me ask you the question. Did Mike ever use drugs? Is he a manic depressive?
He was not manic depressive. He was not sick. Mike does not believe in drugs. He was always anti-drug. Mike would not even take aspirin. Sometimes he would have a headache. I would say, have aspirin. He says, no, I don't take any aspirins. I don't take any drugs. I know, like, at one time he had to take a drugs for his infection. He had an infection. The doctor prescribed him for the drugs. He would not take it.
Kev, you were his trainer, all right? You, during the times when this man is getting ready to fight, and let's face it, a 22-year-old kid, he's had a lot of fights. Did you ever know him to take a drug of any kind, a steroid, a drug,
Zippo? We're drug-free, our camp. It's a professional camp. The only pills he pops are vitamins that we all take in the morning because he doesn't eat right to lose weight. He's got to have the right vitamins. No drugs. He's a symbol for the American youth. We got a big drug problem, and I want the kids to look up to this guy. Now, for that doctor to prescribe lithium, I mean, that right there shows he don't know what he's talking about. He does, and then another guy says he's not a manic depressive. I've been saying right along, he's not manic depressive. What he needs to be is in the gym. People forget he's been in the gym for 8 years. I fought for 15 years. I don't work out, I get moody. When I work out, I feel great. And I don't work out enough.
All right, let me ask Camille. Camille, exactly in your mind, what would make Mike mad enough to throw furniture around a house?
I think somebody who insults you publicly, number one. And number two, that actually professes to love you and actually did what was done to him on 2020 show.
2020.
That's right.
Thank you, Camille.
That's right.
There is a lady who for 10 years has nurtured Michael Tyson, has held him in her arms, has told him she loves him, has made him proud of himself, has made him a person who doesn't feel hatred. This woman, not the other one we're talking about. Let's find out what's in store for this marriage next. Stand by. I have a guest on the telephone. I have a guest on the telephone who does not wish to be, at this time, introduced by their name, as they do not want the wrath of mama and daughter down upon them. But let me go to our caller. Caller, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, if we lift that up for the studio audience a little bit more, I'd appreciate it. I want to ask you a question. How you knew Robin Gibbons very well?
Yeah, I went to college with her. I went to
You
Sarah
went to
Lawrence.
college with her. How well was Robin Gibbons liked at college?
She was not liked at all.
Wasn't liked. Well, when you say she wasn't liked, was there any outward expression of her classmates' dislike for her at any point during her career?
During graduation, we graduated in the same class. The class of 1984 booed her.
Booed.
That was
Are you surprised? Are you surprised that this marriage she had failed?
Oh, no, I'm not surprised at all.
Do you think Robin and her mother were manipulative or are manipulative?
I don't think you can totally blame Robin. I think her mother has a lot to do with it. And all of Robin's life, she sort of had her mother guiding her. So I think her mother has created a monster, and she just doesn't know how to handle it.
Maybe the monster created the monster, huh?
Yeah.
How about the pregnancy rumor? What are your feelings about the pregnancy rumor?
I don't think Robin's going to have a child for anyone.
So that was just some more bull for us, huh?
I think she's probably too selfish at this point and too worried about her career to have a child who I would
Even if
assume
she was
would be-
Well, let me introduce the lady who's
anti-abortion
gonna.
to
Let me.
say that she
Well,
should
I'll
have
come to you. No problem. As can be well understood, there are people who don't necessarily agree with my position on this issue. Let me introduce you another guest at home base, Sandy Pressman, a Gibbons supporter. Sandy, you've heard us get... Wait a second. We want to get all of this in. We want to get it all in, all right? What do you think, Sandy? You've heard us get pretty rough with Robin Gibbons. Does she have a leg to stand on, or is she down for the count in court?
I think maybe she ought to be the next heavyweight champion and get the purse without laying a glove on him.
In other words, that's what. In other words, simply because she can spread her legs, she can get $50 million, huh?
First of all, do you want my answer?
Let me hear this lady.
I think, first of all, we're not talking 50, aren't we talking half equitable
Oh,
fair?
just $25 million for a couple of... Who's getting home?
You're talking 8 months of marriage?
I'm
I'm talking
talking-
91 seconds.
91 seconds.
How long it took him to get it?
And it took 10 years of training. Took Robin no time at all to lay down. Kevin, what's your solution? What's your solution to this problem? Should Mike give her half of his fortune?
My solution.
Let me hear.
My solution to the whole problem is this: each of them should take out of that Bernardsville estate that they bought what they brought in, whatever furniture, whatever personal possessions.
Yes.
They both should take it out.
Yes.
Mike should hand over the mansion to Robin, along with any mortgage payments and his husband. She can do whatever she wants to.
I think you should.
He's a judge and a
I
jury.
think what the hell do you think you are? What do you think you are? You're a judge and a jury, too. She should get the mansion. I'd give her the mansion if it was a tomb. A tomb. Would I give her?
You can't make that decision.
If I was married to a bitch like that, I'd burn my money. I'd light it on fire. I'd set the mansion on fire. I'd never fight again. Let me go down here. Ed Engelhardt, you're a matrimonial lawyer.
Yes, I am.
Let me ask you a question. One theory that's going around is that Robin Gibbons planned to divorce Mike Tyson before they ever got married. Do you believe that? And how much do you think she should get?
Well, first of all, I do believe it. I don't believe she should get anything. And first, if she had...
Let's hear. Please, let's hear.
There's a couple of things. If she entered into this marriage based on some fraudulent concept that she was really taking this guy on, then Mike should be entitled to an annulment. The marriage should be over. She should be entitled to nothing.
Someone has to prove that was a fraudulent
You're right.
concept. Nobody knows
you
that.
Are right.
You don't know
However,
it.
let's look at some of the things that we do know. Mort, we've got talk.
Let me give you some facts, because maybe Sandy hasn't had the facts. Let me give you an enumeration of facts, all right? February 7th, they get married in Chicago after the NBA All-Star game, all right? February 9th, they marry legally in New York City. March 15th, Tyson confirms she's pregnant. March 20th, Tyson KO's Cubs in Tokyo. March 23rd, Jimmy Jacobs, his manager, dies. March 24th, Gibbons Roper take $2 million out of Tyson's account while he's at the funeral, all right? May the 8th, Tyson wrecks his Bentley and gives it to 2 policemen. May the 18th, Tyson, this is the worst time of my life, he says. June 27th, Tyson KO's Spinks in 91 seconds. July the 8th, Trump takes over as an advisor. July the 26th, Caton's contract is reduced. August 23rd, Tyson breaks Mitch Green's nose in an early morning Harlem brawl. September 4th, Tyson tries... Listen, let me tell you something. I've been married to women just like you, all right? And nothing in the world can make you less stable than a woman.
You know,
Nothing in the world can unstabilize you like some broad just like Gibbons or yourself. Go ahead.
There's something else that you got to look at. Robin Gibbons says, you know, I've got a good career. I don't need Mike's money. What do I want Mike's money for? Where does she go? She goes right out to see Marvin Mitchelson. She goes for publicity once again.
And
50%.
writes a $581,000 check, gives it to Mitchelson.
Sure.
The money, all right? All of a sudden, the bank calls, says, hey, the money isn't there anymore. She has to give it back. Mitchelson says, adios, madre.
Oh, but it goes beyond that. But more, it goes beyond that. Because Mitchelson is looking at a 50-50 split California community property law. Lo and behold, she finds out that there's a real good chance that this case might get moved back to New York and New Jersey. We don't have.
I'd say excellent. I'd say excellent. They weren't married there. They didn't live there. His property wasn't there. Where in the hell? And listen, California, you're watching the show tonight. You got some of the biggest nutcakes in the world out there. If you think you get that marriage out there. If Mike Tyson gets this much crap, can any man ever get a fair shake? Stay with us. Let's introduce some of the new guests we have at home base, all right? We're joined by Diane Lewis, who has written Equal to the Challenge. Diane, how are you today?
Fine.
Mark Marshall, who is Fathers' Rights Association. I'm going to start with you, Mark, all right? Incidentally, we've still got Ed and Sandy with us. Mark, we just talked about a near knockout of the heavyweight champion of the world. Now, does any man stand a chance in divorce court?
Well, very few men win in divorce court. Unfortunately, we're talking about Tyson and Gibbons, and there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of Gibbons out there that are not publicized. I don't see
thousands that have 50 million.
thousands and thousands of women.
Now, wait a second. You are listening to the typical mind of a feminist, all right? The only value a man has is what's in his pocket.
It doesn't matter if the man has got $50,000 or $50 million. This woman is not entitled to a dime of it. She's not entitled to 1 cent.
Okay.
Well, let's go with Diane wants to say something.
Here's what I want to say. I agree. She shouldn't get one bloody penny. But there's a lot of women out there that put their husbands through medical school. They teach them to become...
They're entitled to money.
They're entitled to go for the juggler after 20 years.
Damn right they are.
You're all wrong because anybody who enters a business contract has to share the profits when the business
Honey,
is dissolved.
the profits with me are in the sack. Those are the only profits you get from me.
Isn't that what the marriage contract says?
And let me tell you, I never want to make a deposit in your bank.
She entered the contract by fraud.
Your bank has no interest.
She said she was pregnant. She wasn't pregnant. She tried to get to the money. Now, this guy represents men, right?
You bet you.
How about the women? Do you ever talk about the women? You
One
train
thing I'd
men
like to
in
bring up
court.
right now.
You train
Let
men
me
in
ask you a
court.
question, Diane. Let me ask both of you. Wait a second. Wait a second. Let me ask. I'll come back to you, baby. Let me run this thing, all right? How many women are the perpetrators in filing for divorce?
98% of all divorces filed in this country are filed by women.
All right. How many
Where do
women?
you get your
What
facts?
percentage of figure? What percentage do women get custody of children?
95% of the time, women receive custody of children. Where do I get the facts from? The U.S. Census Bureau, ma'am.
What do
have
you
the same
think? What do
thing,
you
too.
think? And what does Diane think of the fact? Diane just brought up a good point. You're married 20 years. Your wife worked and helped you get through medical school, law school, whatever you're doing. All right. She helped you. What's she entitled to then? If
wait
you
a
guys get
second.
divorced?
You know-
What is she entitled to then if you get a divorce?
She's... Okay. Excuse me. Men put women through law school, through medical school, through college,
But he asked you
more
a
often than
But I
women
ask you
do.
the other
Why
question.
don't you answer the
What
question?
about women when they put men through? And a lot of women do that.
When they
right?
well, that's their choice.
Wait a
you know,
second. Are they entitled to anything at the dissolution of that marriage? Are they entitled to?
They're not entitled to his education. They're not entitled to his profession.
But they are entitled to all the money they invested. They are entitled to, if they've stayed at home, to having him then train her and send her.
They're
send her to
entitled,
college.
they're entitled to a settlement. That's it.
See, I don't agree with
Right
that.
or wrong, they are
I
also
think-
entitled to a share of the fellow's income, despite having done very little. That's New Jersey. They are going to get it, and the rest of the country may be
Let me
different.
just
But in
tell
New
you-
Jersey, for doing nothing other than sitting home and maybe washing some dishes or helping out a little bit, she's going to be entitled to an interest. Now, here's the situation.
No, you're sounding as bad on the male side as she sounds on the female side.
What I'm saying, though, is that...
Where's the happy medium, man?
What
I
I'm
mean,
saying
20
is that-
years.
sure.
20 years, the wife supported you, pal.
If you're
Don't
looking
you
at
owe her
that,
something
if you're
back?
looking at that, yes, and she is entitled to something for what she has put in. Yes, absolutely,
She
she's going to
should
be.
get everything.
Who should get
Absolutely
everything?
not.
The woman.
No, not everything.
Yeah, you
No,
should get everything.
Diane,
Wait a
let's
minute.
be a little
Wait minute.
responsible.
Wait a minute. My ex-partner had a wife for 32 years.
That's
She
great.
ended
So
up
what you do is you
babysitting
get
for
married.
food money.
you
He
stay-
ran
Wait
away.
a second. I'll run this, zip this out show. You shut up until I come to you. Now go.
Thank you, Morton. Yay.
Go.
Okay. I had an ex-partner. She was married 32 years. He ran off with our 19-year-old bookkeeper, and I want to tell you, his wife was babysitting for food money. She got Zippo because some lawyer, she didn't have enough money for a good lawyer. The lawyer got bought off by the guy. That
Okay, so we
happens
know
a
there's
lot.
inequities on both sides.
That's right.
But this Gibbons Tyson
didn't get a
affair
penny.
is one of the worst. I'll tell you,
You
what
know
my fear
something?
is. I'll tell you what my fear is. Sandy, I'll come to you. I'll tell you what my fear is. I think, in my opinion, all right? In my opinion, this was such an egregious situation that was going on that I sincerely fear that Tyson would not have been alive 6 months from today if he had stayed married to this Machiavellian bitch. Go ahead. You want to kiss me? Huh?
He's the one with the lethal weapons for hands. Which one would you
She's the one with the lethal weapon here. Huh?
No one ever died of love, but they sure died from a good beating.
Well, let me tell you something then. If she supposedly got the beating she said she got, how come her producer at Head of the Class said, quote unquote, at no time when Robin Givens came to this show did she indicate the stress of torture, physical or mental abuse, or were there any bruises upon her body? Now, you just said he has a deadly weapon. I ain't Mike Tyson. But if I lay one in your cheekbone, it's crushed and you're gone.
You better not.
Right, I would.
You better not.
Right, I'm a nice, gentle,
She was
easygoing guy.
probably covered from here to here, and how do you know what kind of marks she had on the rest of her? The point of this is that if it's a contract...
Why didn't she file charges?
She did.
Not against him for assault.
Well, she did for this, and I think...
Not for assault, she didn't.
No,
She drugged the guy up, put him on lithium, so he's sitting with Barbara Walters, who has the mentality of a baboon, all right? He's sitting with Barbara Walters, and she had to have known there is a complicity in the media, all right? Get a story no matter how you get the story. And Barbara Walters knows what I'm talking about. Investigate that one, Bawa.
Mart, most of the women that I know think he should have hit her right on the show, on the Barbara Walters show.
He couldn't. He was a zombie.
I know,
the guy
but it was
a zombie. He sat there
embarrassing.
like this. I mean,
It was embarrassing to see the champion of the world sit there drugged up with this woman manipulating him. I think that's only fair. I mean, women don't even like that.
Mark, let me come to Mark. Before we go to a break, all right? We know the percentage of divorce, but you had something you wanted to say. Now say it.
There's another reason why she shouldn't get anything. One of the factors that you look for in divorce is who brought what into the marriage. We're talking about even the education or going through medical school. Here's a girl that is going to make more money from the publicity that she got as a result of this marriage. Nobody has talked about what benefits she had. Everybody is trying to say, well, that here's Mike, he's this notable person. However, here's a girl that is now, she's seen on every magazine, on every TV show, on every news story. She is going to make more money out of this, whether it's a marriage or a divorce, than anybody's taking into consideration. That's what she wanted all along. She is going to do so well from it, and that's just one other reason why she doesn't deserve a penny out of this, because she's going to make plenty.
Contract, and when a business contract dissolves, the two partners are
right,
supposed
but if it's a contract
wait a second. Sandy, you guys want to have it both ways. Now it's a contract. Before it was palimony. Palimony was a contract, all right? You and I lived together for 5 years. We got a little, all right? And now you want half of everything I got. That's a contract. That's right, honey. I figure, it's all right. No problem. I admit it. She knew it. She's got a... The point is, you keep talking about a contract, all right? There is no contract when people live together for 4 or 5 years, but how come the courts also award money to the woman? Ask poor dead Lee Marvin how he had to take some no-talented bimbo and teach her how to sing because she went to the sack with him for 5 years. I mean, this happens all the time.
The issue here is a contract, a business contract, a marriage contract.
Not a business contract. It's not a business contract.
The two people are partners in a marriage. When
They're supposed to be.
Dissolved, when that business
that's right.
dissolves,
Robin and
we divide
Ruth.
the profits. If you and I marry,
Robin and Ruth were the partners.
She is entitled to any percentage of his profits that she directly brought into that marriage. What'd she bring in?
That is not how it's worded. It's the fruits of that marriage.
You're talking about fruits of a marriage, honey. I think you know a lot about that. We'll be back in a second. I haven't seen a man get a break yet. Come on back with us. me introduce another guest that we have with us at Loudmouth number 2. Cece Shack is with us, and realistically, I'd like to have Cece up here, but we've got too much going on. Cece, let me ask you first. Do you think women usually do so well in divorce because of inequities between men and women? Would you get right over the mic?
They do not, Mort. That's exactly why I'm here. I'm in the middle of a divorce right now. And I'm here to say, no, I hope nobody attacks me, all you men here.
No.
Because what I'm going to... No, but wait, no, I'm not on her side. You're on Robin's side. I am not. She is ruining it for all the women who really deserve alimony.
Right, you're in a... Cece, you're in a divorce right now.
Yes,
How long
I was
you been
married for 7 years.
7 years.
I raised 2 children that belonged to my husband, not to me.
Belonged to him.
I took care of him. I did everything for my husband. Bathed him, did everything for him. And now I'm in the middle of everything.
An invalid?
Well, I had to take care of him when he was sick.
Okay.
When he was sick and he came
And
out of
you
the
did that
hospital, I had to
lovingly
take
and
care of
wanting it?
everything. I loved him. I took care of him.
What happened in that marriage?
Okay, after 7 years, I had to leave. They were going to lock me up. They were going to put me away.
Why?
I couldn't take it anymore.
Did you want to leave him? Did he find a new woman, a new lover?
Not yet. It was mental abuse and the children, what they put me through. And now that
How
all I
old were the
want...
children? How old were the children?
When they came to me, it was 7 and 9.
Okay.
Now they're grown, of course.
Okay.
All I want, Mort, I'm not asking for half. I'm saying, and he's a millionaire. And I've been cut off without a dime. Without anything since June. Now, what happens...
No money to pay your rent?
Nothing. You have to make out...
That's inequitable.
Yes, I have the best lawyer. You know who he is. He's wonderful.
That's inequitable as hell.
What do you mean?
That's inequitable. Your rent should be paid. You should have something going
you know
for
what happens? You have to make a motion. You make a motion, and by the time you get that motion to the judge, which takes so long... I've been cut off since June without a dime. Now, the judge doesn't say, when she gets these papers, she doesn't say, well, you've been cut off since June, you don't have any money, so and so. From the time those papers are filed, that's when they say the money will start. You know, it's retroactive.
Were you able to save any money during this marriage?
I came into the marriage with money.
You did?
Now, I've been going into
Did you come in as much as he came in with money?
Well, he's a millionaire. Okay? So the money that I came into the marriage with, now I am using to live on. I have to use that money. But
What do you think you're entitled to?
Well, equitable distribution, whatever that is.
Equitable
not
distribution?
half. I'm not being unfair. I'm really not. I'm not being... I don't want to be unfair and say that... Because there are women, yes, who are unfair. You know, they didn't do it just like Robin. What did she do that she deserves to have? She doesn't deserve anything. We all agree to that, don't we? She doesn't deserve anything.
So there's another side. There's another side of the coin, Mr. Engelhardt. Here's a woman, 7 years, took care of the guy, helped raise his kids. She has been cut off since June.
But the
This
case
is October. This is October. The case could not be over. She could be homeless if she were a poor woman. She could be homeless, living on a grate, living on a grating in New York City someplace. Good, couldn't you? Amazing how you can't side with a woman who's really given some time to a man, but you can side with a woman who wants to just disembowel. If he lived in that type of a state, she's in an equitable distribution state. I assume it's in New Jersey, New York, all right? California, where Robin Gibbons has no right to file for a divorce against a guy who, you know, she'd get half, all right? And I hope if she gets half, I hope the station in San Francisco has to run the show. Now,
we are an equitable distribution state, and I agree that in a situation like this, the woman is definitely entitled to money during this time period. The only problem that we have is that, unfortunately, we're still dealing with the system, and that system is a slow-moving system. And you really can't reimburse her for the time that she's missed. I mean, you can, but when the person hasn't eaten in 3 days and 4 days because there's no money on the table, the system oftentimes moves too slow. However, you can make applications to the court for immediate relief, but you know what the problem is? But the problem with that is oftentimes, and I'm an attorney, but I'm going to say it anyway, attorney's fees start to come into play. And a person can only spend so much money on an attorney, and how many times can you go into court, and how many times can you charge the client? And even when you do, if I'm in a situation where I'm unquestionably in the right, and I'm asking the judge for my fees to be covered because my client has been wronged, the judge may give me 50% of my fees. He may give me 30% of my fees. He may not give me any.
There's got to be a way There's got to be a way, really, of getting beyond this. I mean, where a quick arbitration can be made, first of all, and where you say, okay, this can't get to the judge for a certain amount of time. Therefore, it's been decided that Mr. A has so much in his Social Security account. That money will be paid to her out of his Social Security account until such time it's settled. He can then deposit back into the Social Security account. That's money that's already there, already in government trust. It should go to make sure that women like this woman, and more importantly, women who don't have the dough that this woman has, don't have to live on a grading someplace.
Oftentimes, there's enough money that are there. There's something.
Tell you what we'll do. I want to hear from the audience. I want to hear from the ladies and the gentlemen in this audience. Come on, join us. Let's start our loudmouth. Ma'am, you've heard all the discussion through the last 4 segments.
And I've done it, and I've seen it all. I was married in '74 to a young man. We lived with my mother-in-law in her house. She encouraged him to have an affair with a girl in my bedroom in her house when I was at work. I found out about it. I told him I was moving out. He stayed with Mommy. He stayed with the girl. I went to a divorce. I didn't get a dime from him. I didn't even have food money. I went to work. I didn't want anything from that man. I could have gotten alimony money. I could have gotten everything. I was just too happy to get rid of him, and I did not get a dime from him when I could have. So where are women taking advantage of men? Men take advantage of women. A good woman.
Sometimes both ways. Sometimes both ways. Let me go this young man. Go ahead, pal. Good to see you again. Okay. Go ahead.
Hey, Dan. I just wanted to say I totally disagree with what that lady said. The reason I feel this is it's a damn shame what Robin Givens is doing to Mike Tyson. Because here you have a pretty girl with a decent show, but which looks like that, she's insecure, and that's why she's taking him for all she can, because she knows she's insecure.
Okay.
I'd just like to say that Mike Tyson should sue Robin Givens for everything that she's got.
Yeah, well, I don't think he'd be getting too much.
Really?
You know, mental cruelty is tough to really decide on what. Go ahead, sir.
I don't even think that there's an argument on this. I think it's window dressing anybody that wants to argue against it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think everybody knows what's going on. She went out to California after they decided this thing's not going to work. A quick scam out there, but then, whoa, he's going to go back to New Jersey, New York area. We got to get a lawyer over there.
Now she wants to be married to the guy.
He's no good anymore. No, all of a sudden she changed her mind now. Yeah, but what was that, over the weekend?
Last night.
What was that, over the weekend that she started? One more thing. She said that she was pregnant. She had a miscarriage. Huh, who knows that? Maybe she did, but maybe it wasn't his. That's another thing. And one more thing. I don't think the champ is gay. But he talks a little funny. You gotta admit that.
Well, let me tell you this. I don't think the champ is gay either. But he wants to hold my hand. I'll let him hold it. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm a woman, too, and women usually stick together, but in this case, it's ridiculous. I mean, she's taking him, besides, not her. Her and her mother are taking him for all she can get. She's just trying to exploit her career, and it's ridiculous. I mean, you have how many men, who usually men would stick together, and you have how many men that are fighting for Mike. Yeah. And I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. What she's trying to do.
I just want to see what she's going to do when she finds out that Mike Tyson's lawyers are better than her lawyers. And
it's sad that that's the reason that she should win or lose. The reason she should win or lose is because she's right or wrong. Exactly. And in this case, the merits of that case are obvious to everyone in the studio except poor Sandy.
I'd hate to...
Go ahead.
I think that the lawyers are the ones who make the women get so extremely radical about their divorces. They go in just wanting to get out of the, just out of the marriage. And they come out like, I want this, I want that, I want everything from you, everything you ever made. You don't go in there like that. You come out of it because the lawyers like that.
You're right. Lawyers love to make that extra buck.
Two good lawyers that know what they're doing in the area of matrimonial law. There are so few issues that really have to come about unless you have substantial assets, such as in a case like this. But here, we're looking at a short-term marriage. We're looking at so many things that are against the equities if Robin Givens gets anything. But realistically speaking...
I hope she gets herpes.
Yeah, there are some attorneys.
Boy, I think we should just leave these two alone, let them break up on their own.
Mike's still a young man. He's 22. He's got the rest of his life. He can straighten it out. He's got plenty of time. And just leave
So
these
in other
two
words,
alone.
allow him to be, allow him, allow him.
Allow him, in other words, allow him to be blackmailed. We'll be right back with our audience. Stand by. Stand by. Quickly, because I want to go back to the audience, all right? But quickly, you've written a book called Equal to the Challenge, How Working Women Can Avoid Errors That Limit Careers. What the hell is
tell
that?
women they can do more, but you know, I see these women that
Here,
come
take
out
the piece of garbage, catch it.
and they're so down and out, and they go from attorney to attorney, and it's who has the most money. It's who has the most money win these settlements. In the state of Illinois, we
Ask
have
him a question. You're going to ask him a question.
Would you take a case without any money if a woman came in and said, I'm married?
As a matter of fact,
Then you are
want to know
rarity
something? As a
for
matter
an
of fact, I
attorney.
take cases when they are assigned to me by, in my case,
Then
it's the
you're a
Fayette County.
rarity.
How many women lawyers do you know that'll take cases for nothing from
I don't
women?
know any lawyers that will.
Interesting. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'd just like to comment for Sandy. She says that it's a contract. A marriage shouldn't be a contract. A marriage should be for love. And you shouldn't go into marriage to see what you can get out of it. You don't have to love only.
Sandy, I agree with this young lady. A marriage shouldn't be to see what you can get out of it. A marriage should be to see what you can put into it.
A marriage is a partnership.
Partnership is a partnership with love and caring, and two people care about each other. It's obvious that Robin does not care about Mike Tyson, or she wouldn't be putting him through this.
But if everyone thought of that before they went into marriage, there would be no divorces.
This marriage to see what she can get out of him.
Exactly. Let me fix this young man. There, pal. Up there. Up there. Let him up
I'd
there.
like to know why Mike Tyson doesn't get none of the money Robin Givens that she makes from head of the class.
Well, he
Why
should.
doesn't
I mean, what's the big
You
deal?
know, but hey,
But he's a magnanimous guy.
Her and the mother-in-law out through the window.
He's a magnanimous guy. He's going to let her keep her money. Right. Zip it. Zip it, Sandy.
I don't think you said one thing to her that made any sense about marriage. You've been staying with the women the whole time.
Are you married?
No wonder.
Are you married? Are you married? You are? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. 1 time. Happy marriage? Happy marriage. How long you been married? 36 years. God bless your husband. He must be a saint.
Mort, it's a sad day when you can just walk into a marriage, sleep with the person, and walk away with half. Personally, I think Tyson should kick her butt in court.
Where's this? Let me hear from Mark.
I think it's very important that when we issue marriage licenses today, that we also issue a copy of the divorce statute within that state so these people know what they're getting into, because chances are within 5 years there's going to be a divorce. And I'd also like to find out why women are no longer fighting for equal rights. Could it be because they're getting too much legislatively through the states, taking half of everything that a man makes, but does not want to give half of her salary to a man?
Gibbons thing, she was wrong. But you know what? I don't want it to be a precedent for other women who are really having problems
Women
in
are
their
no
life.
longer fighting for
I think we ended up by saying, most of us know here or feel here. How many feel Mike Tyson is in the right? Yeah! How many feel Robin Givens and her mother are in the right? So, all I can say then is to you blessed young couples who are thinking of getting married in the next week, find out what she's really after, or what he's really after, pal, all right?
Do you believe in ghosts? Of course not. We knew you didn't. So if you would just lean back and relax, we'll tell you a little ghost story. Please don't hesitate to turn out your lights. We're sure the warm glow from the picture tube will be sufficient to melt your fears of the dark. Watch Hitchcock Presents next, right here on Channel 9.